this is a tricky question. It's usually um, when this is the process when HR specialists say the stuff that developers want to hear without actually being sure that this stuff that they're saying or promising to them will actually happen in case the developers would agree to work for this company. I will think about some examples from some funny examples. Right now, unfortunately, none of those is popping into my head, but it's usually about we had this case recently when we talked to a developer who wanted to work with a certain, who wanted to escape from a certain tech stack and to work with a different tech stack in the area of Java. And they promised him that this will happen. And then he agreed to work for this company. And it turned out that he was assigned work regarding the same tech stack that he wanted to escape from. So he was led to believe that he will work with a different, more up-to-date technology, in particular Spring and Hibernate. But he was, because of his experience with the more outdated technologies, he was given work again with again involving these outdated technologies that he wanted to escape from. This is the thing that I meant by HR bullshit. Or not only this, but I think this describes the process pretty well.
If I may add, have a similar example with a previous colleague of mine. We were working for probably 2 years or so, and suddenly one of the dream company HR contacted the person, and they have promised them to have a fancy position with everything, and they went to a couple of interviews, and suddenly they started a low-level support position with the promise that the project is about to start. 6 months after that, the project never actually started. They will continue to be a support position, and suddenly, like the dream job, the dream big company, and everything suddenly became a fairy tale, which was not the best experience, because we are still keeping in touch. We are in very good terms, but I believe the personal experience the person had wasn't that good, and this was mainly promised by, I believe, by the HR division.
Thank you for the support by giving such examples. There are many, actually. Unfortunately, this salesman approach by many HR, I don't know if most, but many HR professionals, doesn't lead to long-term happiness among developers. And in many cases, developers will not leave the job right now. They will probably stay for 6 months, 1 year, but they have already made up their mind that they would leave as soon as they find out about the huge or the big difference between the reality and these empty promises that they receive.
Yeah, I believe Jana is going to share a bit different perspective, but let's be honest here, and I would like to mention that there are many good examples too, but like the problem with
yes,
bullshit HR, like you mentioned, it's they're in top of your mind. Like a proper HR job, when it's done, it's like someone is expecting to be done, and it's they do not appreciate it as much as possible. And like I can think of at least 100 different bad examples, and probably very few that were very actually good, and I was impressed. So it's really hard job.
What I was going to add here, thank you for giving me the word, is that as an HR, usually what is, according to me, really the biggest mistake is that, because I'm HR and recruiter, just mentioning the nice things and the perks or the good salary, for example, to attract the candidates. But some of us, I'm just saying I'm an HR, but I don't like it. Skip that. For example, work-life balance is not really good in this company, or you cannot use the technology you really claim that you want to work with. Or another example, that's why I was mentioning managerial staff or the team staff, because sometimes we had 5 years ago, I think, one problem in a team that most of the experienced developers, they just left the company because they were disagree with the managerial staff, the new management that came from abroad, not from Bulgaria. And if you skip that information to the new experienced developer, you're lost, because anyway, he's gonna see it and he will dislike it also. So these are for example, the worst scenarios. You're just mentioning all the good things to attract the candidate, and you skip all the other information that you think maybe not that likable. But it's better the person to know and just to see whether it's his place or not, because otherwise, what you said, 6 months or less, and he's gone. So it's lose-lose situation. It's not win-win. But that is how it works sometimes.
Okay, from my point of view, the HR bullshit are those kind of surveys that are just spread into the companies, and we have to convince our developers to participate in those surveys. And especially when there were the COVID-19 time, so the surveys was almost every day. And I'm not sure that the developers was happy with this. So actually, the other thing are, so I began with this those soft skills training. So this is the part of HR bullshit from the developers' point of view.
Yeah, I also have something to add, because sometimes we all surveys in the high-tech companies, but the best way is just to ask developers, do they want to take part in soft skill training? Do they want to take part in even in team building? Because some of the companies, they organize it, but not all of the people want to be there. Some of them want to be with their families or just don't want to go together. Even the perks, if there are some, it's better to ask the people what do they need, whether they need a card, whether they need food vouchers or additional health insurance or whatsoever, just to ask them what do they find useful and give them exactly what they want, not to give them everything that you've decided. Really, the best way is to ask them. And people are sensible enough to state what they need, whether they need technical course or whatsoever, or they want to develop their soft skills, or they want to go and attend some conferences or whatsoever. The best way is just to ask, and you're going to have the answers, and they will be sincere. Otherwise, if you offer them 3 options and they have to choose one, it doesn't work this way.
Absolutely, I agree with you. But the thing that I met was that during this COVID-19 crisis, there were surveys every day, and they just ask how the people are feeling, if they have some symptoms of the virus, and so on and so on. And this thing actually made a lot of not only developers, but big part of the people irritated. And so I can imagine if those questionnaires was spread to the developers, how they felt. So, and I agree that we should ask what our developers or our team want to do, and after that to do it, not only to give to them a way to choose. And yeah, so Diana was absolutely right with this thing. Okay, thanks.